is you're offered a promotion at work. Sounds exciting. It's more seniority, better title, better pay. All of your friends think this is a great idea. Of course, you take the promotion and be crazy not to. And I think that's originally where we went with it. We were like, oh, probably, why not take the promotion and, figure out your other stuff separately, which I think is like fine gut reaction, but it's not necessarily like the right answer. When you take a promotion like that, you're kind of doubling down on your commitment to the company. You're doubling down on your commitment to the topic of the company and the technologies that the company is working on. So if it's kind of aligned with what you want to do, then great, you can probably make it work. But if it's like, that it's not there and it's not going to get there, I think one thing we talked about is, maybe you can create a skunkworks team to, analyze, vendors or technologies that you might want to use to accomplish something that you think the business probably needs, but that uses the technologies that you're interested in. So, like, in a sense, you don't have to, it's kind of like being an entrepreneur at a company. You, like, literally just say, like, I think the company needs this, and I'm going to go make this thing happen. Some of it is skunk work, some of it is like, nights and weekends type project work. Some of it is just like building consensus within the company that this is an important enough thing to work on that you should dedicate, real time and effort to doing it. But if you, just because you're offered a promotion, if it's not at a company that you see yourself at long term, and it's not in a topic area that you see as your future, the future you're interested in, even if you think it's valuable, you might think, oh, the world needs this, somebody should work on it. Great. That doesn't mean you have to work on it. You should take the skills and interests that you have and direct it towards the problems that you want to focus on. So, taking a step up in a career ladder at a company can sometimes get you further committed versus saying, look, I'm done. We're going to cut it. And I'm going to use that time for the combination, for the self-study, which maybe, when we say self-study, it just means independent study, not attached to like a company or, formal program. But, you can use that self-study to do your proof of work and to do your kind of community, small community building, kind of mastermind group creation. I think those two things are kind of the superpower outputs, but
yeah.
But I don't think you want to like double down, because you were asking about doubling down.
Yeah.
So like further committing. I don't think you want to double down to something that's not part of your future. You're like, this is useful for the world, but it's not where I want to go. It seems like a little bit of a waste of your time, energy, talents to focus on something that you really don't see as your future for a long time. I mean, there's always some bits of work you need to do. But yeah, I think whenever you leave something, it's your whole world is built around that, right? Like whether it's like a school environment or it's, a career, step. You're always like, you have your life is set up around that. The cadence of like when you wake up, what you check your email, who you're talking to on Slack, whatever. Like you have a bunch of relationships in cadence, and
But you've never been afraid to just cut.
yeah, I think maybe I wouldn't. Yeah, I mean, I think I'm just weird that way.
You're like, this start out. No one.
Yeah. But I think it's easy to see what you're going to be missing, because that's what your life experience is. What you're experiencing now is the thing that you won't have anymore once you leave. But it's really hard to predict what new relationships you're going to build, what new Slacks or WhatsApp groups you're going to be on.
Or what you'll be interested in.
Yeah. So let's say you try generative AI for a year. You do some self-study. Maybe you start a company, join a company, whatever, working on generative AI. And you find like, okay, it's not as deep a problem as I'd hoped. I mean, that seems like a preposterous statement to make. with generative AI being so much richness and depth. But like, let's say it's just not your thing. You get it, but it's just not your thing. Well, the easy thing to see is, well, I could always go back to whatever I was doing before I went down this path. And it's fine. If that helps you feel like it's safer to make the decision, fine. But I think it's actually better to avoid committing to like, it's either this one new thing or I go back and revert, but instead say, I'm excited about this new thing. I'm open. I'm excited about this right now. I think there's a lot of depth. So it's my interest, and there's great people here. Like, I get to work with people that I think are just amazing. If you do that, if you like solve those two, then just like run with it, give it a year or whatever time. You don't have to give it like, the next decade of your life or whatever. Give it a year and kind of reassess. Like, is this as interesting as I'd hoped or as I originally thought? Are the people as good as I'd expected? Did I learn that the people are actually better, but the problem's not as interesting? That's actually very reasonable. That could happen in context, right? Or like, oh, I had like my spidey sense on the people had some concerns, but I joined anyways, and it turned out that my concerns were right. Could happen too. But take your interests. Like, what are you most curious about? What have you learned in a year that has like pointed your nose in a different direction? And start pursuing that direction and see where that takes you. And then maybe you need to recalibrate the problem you're working on. Maybe you need to end up recalibrating the people you're working with, or kind of your people radar or assessment of people. But keep moving forward. Don't think about it's either this one new thing or I revert back. Think it's this one new thing, and that's going to connect me to the next thing, the next thing, and the next thing. It's not like this one thing or back to comfort, safety. It's like this one thing, and the world will be interesting, and I'm open to the interestingness that I stumble upon